Hi, this is Terp from fasteratexcel.com, and today we're going to do some quick data cleanup and add a formula to a simple file that's not too messy. And we're going to do all of this using as many shortcuts as possible so you can see how shortcuts can make your life easier. So this file is basically a set of statistics that I exported from a website online. I just exported it into Excel. And these are the things we're going to be doing in the file. So I've written down all the shortcuts here for easy reference. Let's get started. So first thing is, when I have data like this, I really like to know what the header row is. So first thing I do is I just select the first row with my mouse, and then I format it bold. So bold is Control B, and another way you can figure out that bold is Control B is if you just hover over the bold icon up here on the ribbon, it says Control B. That's called a screen tip, and you can get those lots of places in the Excel ribbon. So I hit Control B. Second thing is, you'll notice that once you do that, I mean, you still have this problem where if you scroll down, you lose the top row. So there's a thing called freeze panes. And if you go to the ribbon, it's in the View tab, and then you go to Freeze Panes, and then you would select this first option here. So I'm going to show you a shortcut way of doing that. And it doesn't matter which tab you start on. Let's start on another tab just so you can see. So if I hit the Alt key, ALT, the Alt key, you'll notice a bunch of letters pop up here and numbers on the, so letters on the ribbon and numbers on the quick access toolbar. What this is telling me is that if I type a letter, it drills me down to the next level in the ribbon, or it allows me to use one of these options on my quick access toolbar. So I can pretty much get anywhere I want to using these Alt shortcuts. So I know what I'm looking for is in this View tab here. I hit W. I see that it's in Freeze Panes, which is F. I hit F, and now this is the first option. That's the one that I want, so I hit F again, and look, I've got my freeze panes. So Alt WFF, and you can use that Alt method to do pretty much anything on the ribbon or the quick access toolbar. So there's another thing I don't like here, which you'll see a lot when you export data, is you can't really read this column properly. So what you could do is just stretch it like this. All right, but that's a little bit cumbersome, and you have to find the right width, and you might have the wrong width based on not seeing anything down there that might be wider than you think. So there's a really quick way to do this. You simply double click on the right border. It automatically resizes it to be just wide enough to incorporate the widest element. So there we go. Expand columns, double click. Now, I want to add a formula for batting average. And batting average is basically hits divided by at bats. So I don't need these other columns here. A lot of times you get data, there's a lot of junk that you don't need. So I'm going to delete that. So what I do is I select all these columns here. I right click, and I could just drift my mouse down here and choose delete here. And that'll work. But there's a faster way. You see that the D here is underlined. That means that the D is the hotkey. And so if I just type the letter D, voila, it does the same thing. So I always find it faster just to right click and then hit the letter D to delete. So right there, deleted the unneeded columns. Now, here's where I want to enter my formula. So we're going to call it BA for batting average, and it's just hits divided by at bats. Okay. First thing I notice is it has too many decimals in it. I don't like that many decimals, and the standard format is you just have 3 decimals for batting average. So I could go up here, home, and then change the decimals this way, but I have a faster way. So on my quick access toolbar, I have the decrease decimal icon here already. So I can actually use Alt shortcuts to do this. Now I'm actually going to decrease decimals several times, but instead of doing Alt 2, which is kind of slow, I can actually keep the Alt key pressed and then just tap 2 twice. So here's how it goes. I press the Alt key, 2, 2. You don't even see the menu up here. You don't even see those keys up here. So let's do it again. Alt-2-2, real fast. Okay, now that I have my decimal formatting where I want it to be, I want to copy down the formula. I want to copy it down this whole column. So one way to do it is you just grab the bottom right corner and you just drag it down, and that'll work. But it's kind of tedious because you have to make your way all the way down to the bottom here. And you know, this is a small file. If it's 1,000 rows, it's really not practical. So another way to do it is to, and this is much faster, is you just double click on this box on the bottom right and it shoots it all the way down. And the reason this works is because there's kind of a guardrail here. There's an adjacent column that is already full. So it shoots it all the way to the bottom. Now, you may say, well, prove it. I want to see. Well, that's a good question to ask, a good instinct to have. You need to be a little bit paranoid when you work with data. So there's a quick way to go all the way to the bottom and make sure that you're at the bottom. And that is with Control down arrow. That will take you to the bottom. And then Control up arrow will take you back to the top. So Control down arrow, you push Control, keep it pressed, and then hit arrow, and then let go. Okay, so I'm at the bottom now. And you can see that that is the bottom. And it did carry the formula all the way to the bottom. You look down here, there's no more data. If this is a big file and a complicated one, you might need to be a little more careful, but this is just baseball. It's just for fun. You could do Control and then scroll your mouse wheel in and out like this, and you can see that you're not missing any data. Okay, to get back to the top now that I've seen that I've copied it all the way down, that it worked, I do Control up arrow. That takes me to row 1, but I can't really see row 2 and everything else at the top, so I have to hit down arrow, just down arrow, and that takes me down, and it kind of brings everything up to focus. It shifts everything back to the top. Okay, so I have this formula that's all the way down here, but what worries me about the formula, and this may worry you in certain instances, is that formulas can get screwed up. I could give this to a friend, he could screw it up, I could screw it up myself. So a lot of times it's safer to convert what you did from formulas into the actual values, and there's an easy way to do that. So to convert it to values, the first thing I do is I correct my typo here. It's Control Shift arrow. Control Shift arrow will select everything as you jump to the bottom. So Control arrow jumps to the bottom, Control Shift arrow selects everything along the way. So Control Shift arrow takes me all the way to the bottom and it selects everything along the way. Okay, now I'm going to copy this and basically paste it right back onto itself as values. So to copy, Control C, I do Control C, and I know it's Control C because if I go to the ribbon here, I hover over the copy icon, it says it's Control C. And then I right click and I could go to paste, one of these paste options or paste special options here. And I could just click on this icon, which is values, but I see that V is the hotkey for values. So instead of clicking on the icon, I can just type the letter V. And look what happens. All those formulas are now numbers. I don't have to worry about the formula getting screwed up. So Control Shift down, Control C, and then right click V. And to get rid of these little squiggly lines here, you just hit Escape. One final thing I want to do before I save the file is I want to highlight this column because this is an important column. So I highlight it with my mouse, I click up here, and I type Control B. Well, wait a minute. It unbolded it, and that's because it already was bold in the first cell here. So I hit Control B again, and now everything is bolded. Now this is a much more presentable file. It's easy to read. If I scroll down, I don't miss the top row. The important rows and columns are highlighted. So I'm done. At this point, I want to save it. The quickest, fastest, easiest way to save, and you should do this hundreds of times a day, is Control S. They're very easy to do with your left hand. In fact, most of these shortcuts here are achievable with the left hand, except for these ones involving the arrow. Control S saves your file. So that's it. I hope you find these tricks and shortcuts useful. every day in Excel. And to find more tricks like this, more shortcuts and tricks, visit my website, www.fasteratexcel.com. And there I've got all kinds of stuff about shortcuts, lots of blog posts, a comprehensive list of shortcuts. Check it out. Check it out, and I'll see you soon.